we have all heard that Bryan Kohberger, and if you haven't, I'll let you know, that he was a criminology student, okay, had just got his master's, was going on his PhD, and I have here from an article that talks about some of his minors, okay, some of his, you know, you have your major and your minors and your degrees.
Okay.
So, this says, pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. So that's where that comes from, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he has some knowledge of tech, cloud-based forensics.
Yep.
Like that's pretty technical. You know, that takes somebody who can handle that kind of thing, you know, coding, other things, like, because I couldn't do that personally, unless, I mean, maybe if I went to school for it, I could, but
it's not just a skill somebody can know, you know,
Right.
unless you're like one of those computer tech genius dudes that's self-taught, but yeah.
Right. So, Bryan Kohberger is the suspect in the Idaho 4 tragedy, and he has this background in criminology, cloud-based forensics, psychology. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Well, I came across this video, and it was from last year, and it was by like a news station. It was like a special report type thing. And it was talking about how police officers can get a lot of information about you without a search warrant.
I am not surprised with how much personal information's online.
It's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of terrifying. So, what am I talking about? Police are now starting to buy data from data brokers. And there is this company out there that is called Fog Data Science. Okay. It's a company that... So what people don't understand, okay, what I didn't even understand, is that when I download an app on my phone, when you download an app on your phone and you hit allow location services,
yep,
not only are you agreeing to that company, allowing to know where you are from now on, but you, in a lot of cases, are agreeing for them to be able to sell that data to anybody.
Yep.
Literally anybody. So there are these data brokers who sell it. Anybody, as long as you got money, can buy that data. Now, they're saying it's legal because they don't share names. Like, they don't share private information.
Yeah,
not
just
that,
the stats.
Yeah, just that. Well, not just stats. Literally individual, like, accounts. Like, they can see where I go to the grocery store, where I go when I go home, where I go, you know what I mean? Like, they have a full profile on you that is built over years. So they can learn a lot about you, like a lot. Mm-hmm. So there's been tons of police agencies. I think last time it was reported was 18 police agencies across the nation had used this Fog Data Science company, had it's like almost like a subscription service basically that they pay for.
Okay.
And it's really cost effective for them. Very cost effective. And what they can do is they can go to this company, say, okay, let's use the Idaho 4 as an example. They can say, okay, we need to know every phone that has been around that house for the past 6 months and see if there's any outliers.
Okay. So
they can go to this system and they'll see a bunch of pin dots basically all over a map and then start using that like, okay, that person always goes to Sigma Chi, so clearly that's a frat member that comes and visits for parties and stuff. Okay, that person's always going here. Okay, that's that person or that's that person. But then they could see, oh, There's this one that every like, you know, couple nights a week is coming from Pullman and hanging around outside there for like a really long time. And then going back. And then the one night of the crime, that PIN dot stops at the border of Pullman to Moscow or something like that. And then they could see, oh, they live here because they're going back to this apartment. They go here. They're clearly going to the university. Like, they have a full profile on you. And then they can also see, like, connect this guy in this video.
So I get where you're going with this now.
Yeah. This guy in this video, he's like, oh, he used San Francisco, this reporter. He used San Francisco as an example. So he goes into a shop and he buys something and he walks out and he's like, well, see, they have this data mark now, okay? They have my jacket purchase along with my credit card information because
depending
they can
on
see
what apps you have.
They can see that too. And my phone location data, and now, bam, they got my name without a search warrant.
That's what I was going to say. Okay. So, essentially, this fog data, and I didn't know about this, so this fog data sidesteps triangulation and the need for a warrant to get people's location if you have signed up for and approved background applications to gather and keep your location.
Yep.
Interesting, because what you're talking about is geolocation.
Yes, it is geolocation. It's background app data, but they don't need a search warrant to access it.
Because you've hit accept. Dude, there has to be something to that.
So there are...
Because you didn't accept to allow police to do it. You accepted to allow the app to do it.
I think there is a... I think it absolutely goes against our Fourth Amendment right of, you know, the seizure laws.
Search and seizures.
Search and seizure laws.
Yeah.
Well, our right. I think it absolutely violates that right. And there's a lot of privacy advocacy groups that have done research into this and are saying this violates our rights. So maybe...
It makes sense.
Maybe eventually it will be, you know, outlawed for data brokers to be able to sell to law enforcement like that.
Yeah.
But I don't honestly think enough people know about this for that to happen. If a lot of people knew about this, I think they would have a problem with it. Because not only can law enforcement buy it, but anybody can. Anybody. It is open to the public. If you have money and you want to go to a data broker and buy this data, you can. And FOG purchases billions of data points from 250 million devices and probably a lot more by now.
Jeez.
So they have full profiles on people. Full profiles. It says they can also use the device's ID to trace that device's precise location over months and even years. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that sounds scary.
Yeah, but my question is did Bryan Kohberger know about this? Did he know about FOG?
Because he's a cloud-based, yeah. Maybe.
Because if you knew about this, you would never take a phone with you. Ever. Never would you take it to stalk a house. Never.
Yeah.
That would be so dumb. Because this isn't cell towers.
Right.
This is GPS.
Well, geolocation.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to be clear, GPS is specific to the satellite data. Geolocation blends like Bluetooth and background app data. So like what I mean by that is, let's say you don't have your GPS on, you don't have your cell service on, but you have Bluetooth on and you're at a party. All the phones that are around there that are realizing there's a Bluetooth connection could essentially confirm that you're there. even though you're not getting GPS location or triangulation, but, you know, the other devices are confirming you're within range.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Fog claims that their product is privacy conscious because it does not contain personally identifying information like your name or your phone number. But that's not so, okay? It doesn't include that information, but police can very easily get that information based off of... Because think about how long you've been using a smartphone. Think about how long you've been allowing it to track your location for the weather app. Or Google Maps.
Yeah.
They have a full... If you allow location data on your phone, and if you've ever allowed it, they absolutely have a profile on you. 100%. And they have sold it to police officers.
Makes sense.
So, the police look at the dot representing you on a map, but may not know your phone number or name. But when they follow the dot to the place where you sleep at night, suddenly they have your address. A decade ago, researchers found that 4 spatiotemporal points were enough to identify 95% of the 1.5 million people whose movements were tracked in a 15-month set of phone mobility data.
Yeah.
They could... 4 spatial points. Only 4 of those data points.
Yep.
They could identify 95% of a pool of 1.5 million people.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. What's the likelihood that another person does the same 4 things that you do in the same way? It's probably really rare. It's probably 1 in 1.5 million or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is rare, because even if you have a spouse, they're most likely not going to the same job as you. Like, you know, you guys are going to maybe even the grocery store at different times. Or you have different friends' houses.
Exactly.
Like, to go to the same place over and over and over, like work, home, grocery store, friend's house, like... That's highly unlikely that anybody else would be doing that exact same thing as you.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm a little bit torn between... Is this positive enough? It's worth the privacy invasion.
No, I think they should have to get a search warrant. They should just have to get a search warrant.
Yeah, I agree.
They need approval from a judge.
I agree, yeah. I don't think it should be something they can just access on their own.
No, it needs checks and balances, okay? We need oversight, not just police able to go into a database and literally spy on the whole nation.
I agree.
And anybody. Like, anybody can do that, not even police officers.
Yep.
That's a scary prospect.
It is.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm just super curious if this was used in the Idaho 4 crime at all.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I think this is a good bit of information that I didn't realize they had such easy access to. So there's 18 different agencies that are using this information nationally, and
federal. They're selling it to individuals, federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies.
Yeah. Yep. But when you partner this fog data with a police computer system, they're able to identify who somebody is, who those little dots are, even though they're not giving them to them. And that's interesting.
Yep.
That is interesting.
Yep. It is 18 different agencies. That it says 18. Okay, so the records received by EFF indicate that Fog has past or ongoing contractual relationships with at least 18 local, state, and federal law enforcement clients. Several other agencies took advantage of free trials of Fog's service. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. But again, I go back to...
And it's near real time, too. Like, they are buying it up, those data sets from data brokers, like, constantly. So it's near real time location data. So if they find out who you are, they can track you with it actively if your location services are on your phone. Like, in real time, they can track you.
Yeah, that's interesting
Almost.
stuff.
It's terrifying. That's worse. I feel like that's almost worse than the stuff we heard about the NSA.
Yeah,
Besides
maybe.
Access to cameras. I mean, I guess that's worse, but...
Yeah, maybe. Location to me is not something I'm as concerned with as I am with like the government being able to access emails, text messages, instant messages, private messages, because there's a big difference where I'm never trying to hide my location. Maybe some people are. So, I have a biased view on this, but I don't really care who sees my location. It doesn't matter to me. If anything, it feels safer when someone knows where my location is. But the thing is with messages, the context matters. So when people are writing messages, if you have somebody writing a message back and forth with somebody and they're angry, they're frustrated, and they're just talking trash, blowing off steam, I don't trust that context to be realized by law enforcement. So I'm more concerned with an invasion of privacy into our messages, private messages and stuff like that, than I am location. Location feels safe to me.
Yeah, my issue is that it's open to the public and that it doesn't have to be an emergency situation with probable cause. It doesn't have to be a warrant where they have to prove probable cause. Like, it's literally just this raw data stream that they can go in and track anyone they want to. And this article, which is EFF.org, talks about how it makes people vulnerable because if, say you have, like in Mississippi, you remember those police officers that beat those guys? Think about what they could do with that information for people they don't like.
You're talking about the 6
Eddie
police
Parker.
officers that broke into an apartment and
A house, I think.
I thought it was an apartment, but okay, a house.
I don't know.
Whatever, they're living, and it was racially motivated, and they abused these 2 men.
Shot one in the mouth, and he survived, but lost, his tongue.
Yeah. Just a really, really horrible, heinous crime.
It was they waterboarded them.
Say that one more time, what you were saying?
It poses questions, like if you have law enforcement that are corrupt or something, and you have a situation like that, you know what I mean? Where they can track anyone they want in near real time. Like, it becomes... It just, without any oversight, it can create issues of, like, I don't know, like more of an authoritarian, Orwellian society.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an advocate for more oversight in our justice system, not less. We're moving into a technological era, and in that, there is going to be more technology. And for me, again, I understand this is biased, but for me, my location's not that important. I would rather have my location, because if I ever go missing...
What if you're being harassed by the police, though?
I agree. That's why I'm an advocate for more oversight on the police. Yeah. Because I believe in these systems. I do. I just believe that they could be managed and controlled better, and the way to do that is more oversight. The way to do that is body cams on 100% of the officers, otherwise you can't be out in the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These things are really important. I don't feel like an officer should be allowed to give a ticket without wearing a body cam. I don't feel like an officer should be allowed to do an interrogation or interview without body cam. These things hold our officers accountable, which is the best thing for the public. So if we could gain more oversight of our justice system and police officers, I don't see it as being a big problem. But sure, do I understand the concern where you have corrupt cops that could be using it for dirty stuff? For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And it's just more reason for us to put more energy into these systems.
Yeah. Could this also be a parallel construction part too? Like, could this be part of this too?
Yeah.
In the Kohberger case, because we did a parallel construction video where we talked about how investigators can, hide their original lead that led towards a suspect because it was illegal or it wouldn't hold up in court or look very good. So then they build another lead that is supposed to look like their initial lead and how they got to the suspect.
Yep.
And it's like two different it's like two parallel investigations. So this makes me wonder, like, could this not look good in court? So they won't even bring it up because they didn't need to get a warrant for it. There's no paperwork on it.
Yeah, I that's what I think. I think that this could be a tool for phishing.
Yep.
If a crime happens someplace and they want to know all the phones that have been around there for the last 2 months, this could give them that. This could identify and make the list smaller for who they need to follow up with and details like that.
They can do area searches and then they can do specific device searches too.
Yep.
So, yeah, I want to know what you guys think about this. I'm just... If Kohberger is the man and knew about this and still took his phone all 12 of those times, like, whoa.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Not a genius.
I agree. I think there's some big question marks there.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know what you think, though.
Yeah.